In previous episodes of 4x4 Australia's How to Off-Road Driving series, we've looked at various basic recovery techniques using recovery boards, snatch straps, and even basic winching techniques. If you're interested in those, make sure you have a look at those videos. In this episode, we're going to take it up a notch and we're going to look at advanced winching techniques. Even if you're just doing a winch recovery, you're going to need more than the winch itself, and luckily in Australia we have so much recovery gear available to us all. One of the most important pieces of equipment is a shovel. If you're going off-road, always take a shovel. It has so many uses. Recovery boards, they're fantastic to get you out of sand, out of mud. You can even use them for bridging across different rocky sections. You're going to need snatch straps if you've got another vehicle there. It's one of the simplest ways to get yourself out of strife. Another alternative to a snatch strap is a kinetic recovery rope. Essentially it does the same thing, it's just a newer device. Of course you're going to need on your vehicle, you're going to need rated recovery points. These examples we have here go into your hitch receiver. Safety is critical in any vehicle recovery operation, so you have these dampers that go over ropes and cables. You've got snatch blocks in case you need to use a double line pull while you're winching. An alternative to snatch blocks, if you've got these winch rings that can be used with synthetic ropes. You've also got tree trunk protectors. If you use a tree as a winch point, then you're going to need to protect that tree so it doesn't get ring barked. And a tree trunk protector has a nice width to it so it won't ring bark the tree. You've got over here winch extension straps and winch extension ropes. If you don't have enough line to reach a good anchor point, you're going to need those to extend the line. The advantage with the rope there is you can actually run that through a snatch block or a winch ring. Of course you need bags to keep all this gear in, and there's plenty of bags available, and you can buy recovery kits for basic snatch strap recoveries, for winch recoveries, for all sorts of recoveries. And of course in just about every recovery situation you're going to need shackles. We've got steel bow shackles, and an alternative to those steel bow shackles are these modern soft shackles, which are a lot safer to use and a lot lighter to carry. So today we're going to show you a couple of different winching techniques. One will be a double line pull, which you'll need if the winch is under a lot of load. And what that does, it halves the load on the winch. It also halves the speed of the recovery. Another technique we're going to show using snatch blocks and winch rings is helping a buddy out who's off the side of a track. And we're going to set up a winch recovery using those devices so we can winch off an anchor point and at an angle. Most important in every recovery situation is to make sure there are no people around while you're doing the recovery. Keep everyone well clear. The only people who should be involved are those in the vehicles and those operating the equipment. When it comes to recovery gear, you'll see labels, and those labels are very important. Not only do they tell you exactly what that recovery gear is, they also tell you the rating, and you'll need to know that it's rated to suit the weight of your vehicle. It's also very important to be able to distinguish between items like kinetic recovery ropes and winch extension ropes. They look very similar, but they're not the same at all. If you use a winch extension rope in a snatch strap kind of recovery situation, there'll be no stretch, and that could damage the vehicle and hurt people. So you must read the labels and you must know what sort of equipment you're using. While I'm talking about equipment, you also need to know what sort of equipment is on your vehicle. So you'll need rated recovery points on the front of the vehicle. You'll need a rated recovery point, at least one of these hitch things at a minimum, on the rear of the vehicle. Recovery points are never to be confused with shipping tie-down points. They're the mild steel points that you'll find underneath many vehicles. You need a rated point. So let's get into some advanced winch recovery techniques. My Ranger has got itself into a situation where I need to get it out. And the great thing about winching is if you're on your own, you can use your winch to get out of strife by yourself. As you can see, I've really got myself in a bit of a predicament here. This is a really steep, muddy hill, and I'm going to need to winch myself up out of here. Fortunately, there's a tree up there. We're going to use a double line pull to get out of this one, and that will halve the effort on the winch. And I'm here by myself. I've only got my one winch. I don't want to ruin it. It'll also halve the effort on the battery as well. I'll get my recovery gear out and start setting up for a double line pull. Okay, so before I do anything, I've got probably one of the most important pieces of equipment in this recovery bag, and that is gloves. If you're handling recovery equipment, you need to be wearing gloves. If you've got winch cable, steel cable, gloves will protect your hands from errant strands poking out. If you've got winch rope like I do, and you're feeding it through, it gets really hot, and you'll need gloves so you don't burn your hands basically. So I'll get these things going. Next step, I've got to plug in my winch controller. I'll do that next. This just plugs into the top of the winch controller there, the control box. I'm going to feed that over there in a sec. But first, while I'm here, I'll open this little gate here in the bull bar, and that gets me to the clutch handle on the winch, and I'll put that in the free spool position. And that's that. And there it goes, that's free spooling out. So we'll pull this winch rope out, grab that by the hook. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is grab out this winch extension rope to make sure it's long enough to reach back to the vehicle. You might have heard of winch extension straps, but the advantage of this being a rope is you can feed this through the winch ring. So that's a great feature. So let's just check the length of this first, and we'll see how we go. The other thing I've brought with me is a bow shackle, so I can hook this up to the front of the vehicle. It's going to be pretty close, but I reckon we're going to be able to make it. So while I'm back down at the vehicle end of the operation, I'll attach the bow shackle and attach this winch extension rope. The recovery point on my Ranger, this one's an ARB recovery point, and the trick with these steel shackles is go till they're tight and then go back a quarter of a turn, and that way they won't bind up and get really difficult to remove once you've finished the operation. Okay, so now we'll get the tree trunk protector around the tree. The winch rope, or the winch extension rope, looks like it's just going to be long enough with the length of this tree trunk protector, so we'll soon find out. We'll chuck him around here. Okay, I think this is going to be spot on. Alright, so now I need the winch ring and the soft shackle in order to join the winch extension rope to the tree trunk protector. So first up, I'll feed the shackle through here, and then I'll feed the rope around the winch ring. I don't need to feed much of it around, just so that I can then put the shackle through here so it doesn't get all tangled up. There's the soft shackle, there's the winch ring. Now I just need to take this back and hook it on to my winch rope, which has got a hook on it. That's easy done. So once I've got a little bit of tension on there, that's not going to come off. Ropes on the winch ring there, sometimes they can fall off. I'll just lay this down gently and I'll keep a close eye on that as I winch in. But in the meantime, and I'm stepping over this winch rope here, never step over a tensioned winch rope. It can be very dangerous. If you have an equipment failure, something lets go, it's going to hurt, so just never do it. And that brings me to these winch dampers. These can be weighted down with sand. They've got pockets on the inside. Normally I'd only carry one with me, and if you've only got one with you, you can use a jacket or something, but because I've got two, I can put one on the winch extension rope side and one on the winch rope side, which will give us double protection. So I'm about halfway between the anchor point and the vehicle. I'll stick one over the winch extension rope, and I'll stick one over the winch rope. There's Velcro on these to keep them in place as well, which is very handy. Okay, so first thing I need to do is get back in here and get to the clutch lever again. Sometimes easier to get to this one without a glove on. And make sure that that is back in the engaged position. Down this end, I need to feed the winch rope onto the drum as evenly as possible while I tension it in. So I'll start there, keep some tension on. Now I'm always keeping a couple of meters away. Here we go, I'm getting some tension. A couple of meters away from the winch here. Now, as we're about to begin the winching in, you keep everyone well clear of the winching operation. There's obviously no one around here. I'm on my Pat Malone. You should always have someone in the vehicle when you're winching in case something goes wrong. A line breaks or something, you'll need someone steering the vehicle. You'll need someone who can put the brake on and control the vehicle if you have an equipment failure. So that is of critical importance. So if you're on your own, you need to winch from inside the vehicle. But the other thing I want to do while I'm winching is have the motor running and give it a little bit of throttle, because the electric winch draws a lot of battery power, and that's your starting battery, so you need that to stay charged. The other thing, I'm going to assist the winching operation a little bit with some throttle. I'm in low range first. I'll straighten the wheels up here and make sure it's pointed precisely up to that tree where the winch lines are running. All right, how good's that? There you have it. We're out of this situation. We set up a double line pull. Sometimes it's worth putting in that extra effort, like we did here with this double line pull. Especially when you're on your own, because you want to look after your equipment. That halves the load on the winch, as I've said before. You just want to make sure, in case you get stuck again, that your winch is going to be working again. I just got a call on the radio and a mate of mine's got himself into a bit of a situation. So that's going to give us another chance to show you a different winching operation. We'll get stuck into that next. What's going on here, Dave? It looks like Marty's got himself into a bit of strife. You already set up here.
Yeah, mate, that he has. Yeah, his front left's in the hole, his rear right's in the hole. He's not going forwards or backwards, mate, and he's a little bit wobbly. So, yeah, I think we'll just get him out with a bit of a quick winch and see how we go.
And it looks like, yeah, if you didn't pull him straight up, he'd end up in a big hole over here.
Yeah, mate, that hole's massive.
So you're running this recovery operation here, mate?
Yeah, mate, yeah, I've got it under control, and yeah, I'll reach out and I'll give you a yell if I need a hand at the moment, mate. And we'll just, yeah, it's pretty hairy, so.
I'll stay out of your way, mate.
Yeah, man, that's good, excellent.
When you're performing any type of recovery operation, it's vitally important that you have one person in charge of that recovery operation. You don't want too many cooks in the kitchen. So what's going on here, Marty? You're got everyone out doing the recovery operation, you're still in the car.
Got myself in a bit of a situation here. The angle that I'm on is quite awkward.
Yeah, it looks pretty nasty.
Whereas if I had lockers, I may have been able to get through, but I'm hung up here.
And what are you doing still sitting in the car, mate?
I'm waiting for everyone to do the work for me.
Must be that Toyota handbrake, eh?
The Toyota handbrake, well, everyone knows what they're like, so that's exactly why I'm in here.
All right, good on you, mate. Let's see what's going on here. Well, Dave, this looks like a pretty intricate setup. I can see you're using a winch extension rope here. They're really handy, aren't they? Because you can run them through the winch rings.
Absolutely, mate. And where Marty is and where I am, my rope's just not long enough.
Oh, I can see you've got a winch rope damper there, and you're putting another one on this side. We've only got two, I think, don't we? So what are we going to do up here for this bit between the two winch rings?
Well, today we're just going to use that bag because we don't have an extra blanket, but yep, anything like a decent beach towel, a jumper, just something so it doesn't sit there and fling up.
Well, Dave, I reckon this looks pretty good. You've got a nice setup here, and it looks like you've really thought about it and you've taken your time, and that's very important. So we're using a lot of recovery gear here, aren't we? We've got three tree trunk protectors going, we've got a couple of winch rings. How good is it when everyone brings along a little bit of recovery gear, eh?
It's imperative, mate. Yeah, absolutely necessary. Anytime you go off-road, you should have enough stuff to at least get yourself out and help a mate. All right, mate, I'm just going to take a little bit of the tension up, so just keep an eye on those pulleys in front of you, and there's no one in front of your car I can't see.
All clear, ready to go.
All right, sweet, mate.
Well, there you go, Marty. Looks like you're out of it now.
Yeah, finally. It makes me feel a lot better. Now we're back on fairly flat ground, so I should be able to drive from here.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's awesome. So that was a pretty complex winch operation we've just performed here. Well, the other guys did. I didn't have to do anything about that one. Thanks for watching 4x4 Australia's How to Off-Road Driving Guide about advanced winching techniques. I think we've shown you a couple of great advanced winching recoveries in this video, a double line pull and a setup where we had to get one vehicle up off the track so the other vehicles could get through. Just remember, if you're ever going to winch using a tree, make sure it's a big strong one like this. You don't want the tree coming down on your rig.